coming to you from one public park in the capital. And the reason why we've chosen this location is because this is the place where a lot of people have morning walks, and two morning walkers in the city their lives were cut short brutally by a 21-year-old driver. One person is now seriously injured, and it really raises the question yet again that the legislation which is now pending in Parliament, the new Motor Vehicles Act, which is supposed to be much tougher, just what is it that's stopping them? When this 21-year-old was caught by the police, he had alcohol levels which were 5 times more the permissible limit. And now his act, which was all over in a few seconds, 3 people being hit by his car, which was a present from his father, innocent people have been left behind. Ketki Angre spoke to one of them. When we come back, we'll have people who are from this industry, people who are victims' families, who are fighting for a tougher law to stop drunken driving.
A 1.5 kilometer stretch that turned deadly for 3 families. 2 of them who lost their lives, the third one struggling to survive in a hospital. गौरव, कल आप बता रहे थे कि पापा आपके गए थे मॉर्निंग वॉक के लिए और आम तौर पे वो 7 बजे तक आ जाते थे, तब वो नहीं आए थे तो आप थोड़ा सा परेशान हुए थे?
जी मैम, मैं परेशान तो हुआ था, लेकिन ये एक्सपेक्ट नहीं किया था कि ऐसा कुछ हुआ होगा। लेकिन जब मैं ढूंढने निकला तो पता चला कि पापा के साथ ऐसा कुछ हुआ है। मुझे लगा पापा का एक्सीडेंट हुआ है, पापा हॉस्पिटल में गए होंगे, तो मैं और भैया फिर पापा को ढूंढने हॉस्पिटल गए। लेकिन हॉस्पिटल जाते जाते रास्ते में एक डेड बॉडी पड़ी हुई थी, तो पता चला वो पापा की है। तो देखा नहीं।
इंसाफ की आपको उम्मीद ज़रूर होगी। क्या चाहते हैं कि पुलिस किस तरह का केस उस पर लगाए, कितनी सज़ा हो उसको?
जो उनके साथ हुआ है उनको इस बात का पूरा, उस लड़के को इस बात का पछतावा हो और उसको पूरी सज़ा मिले कि उसने क्या किया है। और मैं चाहता हूँ कि सरकार इस केस को अच्छे से देखे, और मेरे साथ जो हुआ है वो किसी के साथ भी हो सकता है, तो आगे ऐसा ना हो, उसके पीछे कुछ कड़ा एक्शन ले।
The terrible tragedy of this 21-year-old's act really coming alive in the words of the survivors' families, and those visuals really difficult to see, so much so that NDTV has had to edit that footage. Here's one figure for you before I take you to our experts. WHO said that in 2014, 2 lakh such accidents, road accidents, 2 lakh people died in those road accidents. The NCRB figure is much less, and that's why we are asking, just how is it you tackle things like drunken driving, you bring down the number of road accidents. Let me just introduce our panel here today. We have former Police Commissioner of Delhi, B.K. Gupta. Next to him, we also have Saji Cherian, the Operation Save Life Foundation, a foundation which has been fighting to, as survivor families fighting to tackle this problem. We also have their lawyer, Kush Chaturvedi. On this side, we have Yogesh Mittal. Yogesh Mittal is the brother-in-law of Siddharth Sharma, who was tragically the victim of the Mercedes hit-and-run case, which was being driven by an underage driver. So another kind of really tragic story over there. And we have well-known senior advocate Sultan Singh, who's handled a lot of cases about public safety. The real first question really is, when one sees this this entire tragedy that's taken place, 2 people dead, 1 seriously injured in just a matter of few seconds. 21-year-old Rishabh is now in jail, but how long will he remain there? And the question really is, 3 people are mowed down. What is the toughest punishment, Sultan Singh, that you can see the police giving here under our present laws?
You see, so far as the question of road accidents are concerned, one is the issue of road accidents by virtue of the indisciplined usage of the roads. The other issue is drunken driving. Now, drunken driving is a very serious issue so far as an offender takes upon himself the task knowingly that he is on the public road going to be a nuisance and amenable any kind of a hazard he can create. You know, Supreme Court to the extent has called this kind of an situation, these kind of people to be live suicidal human bombs.
Yes.
Because they are amenable to do anything. Now, so far as what is the deterrence of law to sit on the driving seat, to start driving. Now that is the issue which we have to encounter at this stage, is whether it is self-discipline, whether it is the enforcement, or whether it is the deterrence of law.
Yeah.
Now whether it grows as a discipline within the drivers,
Yeah.
and to what an extent that has to be deterred. And the other issue is the prevention. Now prevention is social as well as enforcement.
Yeah, and prevention is something which these NGOs like Save Life are perhaps working on. Before I come to them, I just wanted to start with you, Yogesh. Seeing that footage must have been really, really brought back all the kind of the recent thing that you went through about your own brother-in-law.
See, to be very true, I haven't really seen the footage, but I read the newspaper, and it's really, really tragic.
Because your brother-in-law's death was also captured on CCTV.
Yes, and it just brings all those bad memories. In fact, we have not been able to get over it, and I guess we are, as you know, we've been fighting quite a lot to get our way through to the people who really matter, to the people who are really making the laws, to the people
Does
who
it
are
make you
really...
angry that this keeps happening, that there was so much media noise after your incident, your family's tragedy, that despite that, this keeps happening?
It does make me angry, and to be very true, it makes me helpless, feel very, very helpless. Not only me, my entire family, all my friend circle, all the people that I know of, all the common people who I keep meeting all the time, everybody feels helpless and angry at the same time.
Yeah. So, Mr. B.K. Gupta, I want to ask you, you were police commissioner. I think from your tenure till the tenure of the police commissioners right now, if there's one thing in common that everyone's fighting is road accidents, drunken driving. And the police keeps coming up with solutions like putting barricades, checking people on certain days. But is any of it really working?
Sunetra, I must say that a lot of action has been taken by the police on their own to check this meanness of drunken driving, but law is very soft. You know, this Motor Vehicle Act was enacted in the year 1988.
Yes.
And thereafter there has not been any amendment. Right now the drunken driving is punishable under 185 of Motor Vehicle Act, which says that maximum punishment can go up to 6 months.
That's right.
So it's not very deterrent. However, in the present case, this boy will be booked under culpable homicide not amounting to murder, which has a maximum punishment up to 10 years. Now it is for the court to really, in one or two cases, give a deterrent punishment. The last the Supreme Court decided on this case was Alester Pereira's case, where they mentioned that if a person is killed, where 7 people were killed in Mumbai, I think,
yes,
that it would come under the culpable homicide section 304A.
That's right.
In that case also, the maximum penalty was imposed was 3 years.
So that's interesting, because in this case, which we are seeing right now, in Rishabh's case, the police have put 304, which is the culpable homicide, the strongest that they can. But what's interesting is, as B.K. Gupta was mentioning, that the law is very old, and we have Nitin Gadkari, the Minister for Transport, has been pushing for a tougher law, and yet even those, first of all, it's not been passed, and even those provisions, for instance, they first said 12 to 18 months jail for drinking under the influence, that's now been watered down just to 1 to 6 months. So why is that? Why is it, and first of all, why haven't we passed the new tougher law?
So when Mr. Munde passed away 2 years back, the government moved ahead and drafted a road transport and safety bill, understanding very well that the current legislation, Motor Vehicles Act, as Sir said, is completely inadequate. 1988, we are in the post-liberal, it was done before liberalization, so you can imagine the kind of legislation it was. So things have changed. We need a new legislation, a new stern, tougher legislation. So there were strict provisions which were put in the road transport and safety bill. Sadly, there were a lot of things that was added into it which brought in state opposition. So there was massive state opposition because it was trying to change the whole transport infrastructure. So road safety got completely diluted in that. What we understand now is that the government is moving forward to bring amendments in the Motor Vehicles Act,
Yeah.
and trying to push it in the monsoon session.
Yeah.
So the fact is that it has not been tabled. It's been 2 years, but more than that is that there has to
So
be.
it's not because they don't want tougher punishment, it's just because they would have to change their systems that they're protesting.
Yeah, see, if you look at this incident, for example, see, our licensing system, which is the preventive aspect of it, right,
Yeah.
is completely fractured, right? The fact that somebody who doesn't know how to drive safely is on the road, and on that he's drunk, is obviously a weapon on the road, and,
Yeah.
and it will lead to somebody dying, which was in the case of Siddharth as well.
So I wanted to ask our lawyers over here that how many of these cases, because I think when we had an audience just of families of road victims, they all said they don't see the end of their case, conviction in their cases. Is that a huge problem?
That is a problem, of course, with the criminal dispensation in our country. But perhaps the time has come maybe to fast track a few of these cases, especially related to drunken driving. And the law itself is inadequate, as the Commissioner pointed out. Section 185 has a punishment only of imprisonment or for 6 months or
Yeah.
a fine, which is of a measly 2,000 rupees. Now,
Yeah.
I don't think 2,000 rupees in itself is a deterrent. At the very least, for a first offender, in a case of drunken driving,
Yeah.
perhaps the license to drive itself ought to be suspended for a period of a few months, if not a year or two.
Well, the new law now says that it should be suspended for 1 to 3 months if it is over speeding. And you see from all these video footages, if it's your brother's case or it's this particular case, what is astounding is the speed of the cars that is hitting them. There is no way you expect anyone to, there's no time to move out of the way. That's what's shocking. So just before that, Mr. B.K. Gupta, why is it that the conviction rates are so little?
Sunetra, now the judges are pretty harsh, and they are also realizing that, recently in 2015...
Is evidence a problem?
No, evidence is a problem, but in most of the cases, evidence is no problem.
Yeah.
Because the vehicle is there on the spot, the person is arrested. In the present case, he was found under the influence of liquor 5 times more than the permissible limit. So, everything is there in place. It's a question of just fast tracking the case and convicting him. And that too, there should be maximum number of years of punishment. Say if it is up to 10 years, he should be given up to 7 to 10 years.